What makes Bushido unique is this idea that it emphasizes personal glory and honor, but which can only be gained through selfless and loyal service to a lord. The contrasting attitudes of personal glory and loyal service come together to create this class of warrior, the samurai, that continue representing the Japanese culture even today, hundreds of years after their existence. The term only came into being in the 1600s, and it does no more than represent the maturation of a set of values that have been evolving since the start of the millennium. To the samurai, Bushido was not something to be followed in battle but in their daily lives. It was the essence of who they were. They were not just warriors by profession but ideals, and it is this that separates them from those that came before and after. The code itself has no rules to refer to, but Inazo Nitobe notes his observations as to the characteristics of the samurai in his book Bushido, the Soul of Japan. According to him, they were just, courageous, benevolent, polite, truthful, controlled, and loyal. They also possessed an incredibly strong sense of honor and sense of shame, which meant that any infringement upon the code quite often ended in the seemingly brutal practice of harakiri. In the eyes of the samurai though, the act was no more than a chance to expiate their crimes, apologize for errors, redeem their friends, prove their sincerity, or escape from disgrace. In Hagakure, Alexander Bennett writes, "To the samurai, death was celebrated as being integral to their honor and way of life. Attachment to life hindered a warrior during a catastrophe, and so it was deemed virtuous to train one's mind and spirit to be able to choose death with firm resolve if the situation called for decisive action." This acceptance of and willingness to die for a cause was viewed by them as courageous, but even amongst the samurai, death was only accepted and not embraced. To die for a cause unworthy was referred to as dying a dog's death. While honor lay in the manner of death, it also lay in the manner of life. The samurai led purposeful and duty-bound lives in the service of their lords, and if any single virtue distinguishes these warriors from any other, it is that of loyalty. But what differs the loyalty of the samurai is that they did not fight on behalf of the state, but an individual. They lived and died to serve their lords, and it was this peculiar lord-retainer relationship that they had that was the entire reason for a samurai's being. Yamamoto Tsunetomo, the author of the popular book Hagakure, acts as representative of this attitude when he chose social isolation after the death of his lord Nabashima Mitsushige. The loss of the time did not permit him to commit himself to death, but the act of junshi was considered to be honorable and the highest expression of loyalty. To the samurai, it was not wealth, but such loyalty and discipline that were valued. They frowned upon greed and hoarding of money, and it was probably this disciplined approach to life that emphasized self-control that created the respect for Bushido and the samurai. Of course, self-control was not exercised only with regards to indulgence and luxury. A tranquil and composed mind was viewed by them to be a static manifestation of valor and courage. The samurai were expected to present a calm front unaffected by passion or emotion. While the samurai are warriors and it is easy to focus on the traits generally associated with warriors, it must be remembered they also held knowledge in high regard. The popular samurai Musashi Miyamoto writes, "The warrior is the twofold way of pen and sword, and he must have a taste for both ways. Even if a man has no natural ability, he can be a warrior by sticking assiduously to both divisions of the way." If anything can be taken away from the Bushido code, it is, in my opinion, aspects of their practical approach to education. To the samurai, knowledge was only as useful as its practical application. This does not mean they did not hold it in high esteem. All this means is that they were men of action, and the intellect was merely a tool. Their education that included philosophy, ethics, literature, and history was one that greatly revolved around the development of character rather than the accumulation of knowledge. Science and other subjects were only indulged as long as they were of use.